It was very interesting that Sam Bankman-Fried never liked Bitcoin. Well, it's becoming obvious to me now that I know he never liked it, why he didn't like it. It's because it's not centralized. There's no way to control it, like he was controlling his empire. So it highlights this, the dual nature, decentralization, transparency, and regulators are beginning to understand this. The newest SEC commissioner, Jaime Lizarraga, still getting used to his name, he highlighted how important decentralization and transparency are, and a lesson learned from this crisis. And so from a regulatory point of view, the focus on those two variables could be very good for the crypto asset ecosystem. And then just to put into perspective the fallout from crypto, at its peak, the crypto asset ecosystem, all of it, I think there are more than 10,000 crypto assets. Most of them, or many of them, will not be worth much, but there has been a lot of speculation. The entire crypto asset ecosystem hit somewhere between $2.9 and $3 trillion. Is now down to roughly $800 billion. Now, put that in context. Apple is a $2.3 trillion company, one stock. So that just gives you a sense of how early we are still, and how unlikely it is that what has happened in crypto could cause a systemic financial crisis.
Despite the FTX meltdown and the consecutive decline of the cryptocurrency market, the founder and CEO of ARK Invest, Cathie Wood, stands by her prediction that Bitcoin will skyrocket to $1 million by 2030. She also seems unfazed by the price crash of Grayscale's Bitcoin Trust since her company purchased an additional 176,945 shares. Hello and welcome to Money Talks. In today's video, ARK Invest CEO and CIO Cathie Wood updates about her thoughts on Bitcoin's current price, Sam Bankman-Fried's possible fraud, and the FTX collapse.
Bitcoin had been much more stable. It was in the 17,500 to 23,000 range. It had been more stable than the equity markets and the bond markets. And we thought, wow, that could be a leading indicator. Maybe Bitcoin's going to be a leader in the next bull market. And then, of course, early in November, FTX went bankrupt. It does appear that there has been fraud involved. Now, what we took from the price break associated with it, if you looked at a chart of Bitcoin, as many technicians have from the beginning of this year, they've basically said this thing's going back to 10 to 12,000. That's where it has support. It doesn't have much support between here and there. Well, guess what? It stopped at 15.5 and it is now around 17. So it has withstood a massive amount of uncertainty in terms of what's going on in the crypto market. And one of the things we have been impressed by is how the Bitcoin blockchain and Ethereum, neither one of them skipped a beat in terms of operations. No transactions interrupted at all. If you think back, if you were in the markets in 2008, 2009, the markets froze. Banks stopped processing. They didn't know where the counterparty risk was, and the absence of information, the absence of transparency, the market froze and the Fed had to come in. It was a near-death experience for the global financial system. Well, it has not been a near-death experience for crypto. And it's highlighting how important transparency is. We can see every transaction on the network by IP address. We can follow the money by IP address. And the decentralization of the network is also paramount.
The shocking collapse of the crypto exchange FTX deepened the problems in the crypto sector and vaporized much of the investor interest. Even the most optimistic industry participants believe it will take a long time for the market to get back on its feet, while others don't see it happening at all. ARK Invest's Cathie Wood is not among that club. In a recent interview for Bloomberg, she doubled down on her forecast that Bitcoin is headed toward $1 million per coin. In her view, such setbacks could be helpful as they show which are the valuable projects.
I started doing these videos right after COVID started because we had a differentiated point of view on what was going on in the economy. Many investors were fearful that we were going into a depression. And we looked at the juxtaposition of massive stimulus against supply shortages, and we said, oh, we're going into a V-shaped recovery, and boy, did we ever have that. And of course, the last 2 years have been characterized by fears of inflation and interest rates going higher and ever higher. And both went higher than certainly we expected. But then again, the supply chain problems lasted twice as long as we would have expected, exacerbated, of course, by the war in Ukraine. But we do think we're coming to the end of all of those disturbances, and hopefully the coast will be clear for a much better new year.
Wood believes the only minus of the calamity is the reduced interest from major institutions. However, she thinks they will soon realize the merits of the primary cryptocurrency and embrace it. The enthusiasm toward BTC should return in the next couple of years, meaning it will tap its milestone by 2030, ARK Invest's executive concluded. She is also bullish on Ether, saying it could be a subject of mass institutional adoption in the years to come. This is not the first time Wood has set such an ambitious price target for Bitcoin. She joined Michael Saylor in April to predict that the asset will eventually tap that milestone.
We probably are going to see more fallout, and we think we can dimension it. One of the ones I think we have a lot of facts on this. DCG, Digital Currency Group, owns Genesis, and it may have borrowed roughly $1 billion from Genesis. So $1 billion, it could be between $1 and $2 billion. Now, to give you a sense of that, the Lehman Brothers bankruptcy claims were $1.2 trillion. So we're not talking anything like that. We are talking counterparty risk, again, shades or echoes of that crisis. Reinforcing this idea is with transparency, you will have a much better understanding of counterparty risk.
So, do you agree with Cathie Wood's bullish outlook on Bitcoin and her take on SBF and FTX collapse? Tell us in the comments. Also, don't forget to like and subscribe. See you soon with the next video. Thank you so much for watching.